Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, we're turning our attention now to the economy. Well, we do know that it wasn't long ago when that report was made, and then commentary about how our economy no longer the largest economy in Africa. Well, we're joined now by Babajide Ogunsanwo, Channel CV's data and information analyst, who's been doing some digging as to how the kind of figures that made that be. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. And I have a surprise guest, baby Darasim is with us today.
Okay. What has that got to do with the statistics now?
Yeah, first of all, this is not my baby. I had to borrow it, but fortunately interest-free. But how many babies are in Nigeria? There are three ways you can get the answer to that. The first is to look at the registration at the National Birth Office. But if we go through that route, we wouldn't be accurate because a lot of Nigerians still don't register their babies. The second route is to look at what the United Nations says about our annual population growth rate, 2.5%. But that doesn't tell us the full picture. Let's go through the third and more accurate or most accurate way to look at how many babies are in Nigeria. And that's the IMF statement. Here's what they say. They say what 56 million South Africans produce as their GDP, $301 billion, is equivalent to what 186 Nigerians produce. Here's what it means. There are 130 million babies in Nigeria. Because if what 56 million people produce in South Africa is equivalent to what 186 million Nigerians produce, then the difference really tells us that there are 130 million babies in Nigeria. That there are 130 million people that really, like this baby, all they really do is to wake, sleep, and eat.
Even though we have a 2.5% population growth rate, which is higher than
which is far higher than what we have in Nigeria at the moment. The IMF has also said that the South African economy is likely to grow by approximately 3% this year. Ours is said to shrink. To understand how unproductive our economy is currently, the CBN also gives us a hint. They say just last year, all of the non-oil exports that we produced was 660 billion naira. The National Bureau of Statistics tells us that as at the end of last year, we only had 69 million people employed in the country. Here's what it means. 69 million people contributed to the total non-oil exports of 660 billion naira. Now, you might think 660 billion naira is a lot of money. But in reality, what it means is, on an average, a Nigerian only exports in non-oil only 25 naira per day. So we're really exporting like babies. But today we mustn't treat this as with kids' gloves. We need to even look at how our performance compared to South Africa, even at the Olympics. Because there we even really understand and see the whole full picture of growth.
Hold up, that's 2008 to 2012. Now, in 2008 they had one, we had zero. All through it scored zero.
It scored zero.
Through. But why is that so?
Because they are focusing on improving. In 2012, they had 6 medals. As at this morning, South Africa has 9 medals. We have 0, 0, 0. Now, here's the thinking. If we can't run to gold at the Olympics, then perhaps we should be running to our gold mines back home. But what does the evidence even show? Kaduna, Kebbi, Zamfara, Sokoto that has gold mines, we are not running to them. Kwara, Niger, we are not running to them. The gold mines in Osun State, we are not even running to the gold we have.
So the conversations we've had about the solid minerals, you just think it's lip service all the while?
Clearly. And a lot of things have happened, and the Olympics is just one way that tells the story. Another way to look at the story is the troubles that lay ahead. Today we are number 2 in the world. Number 3 is Egypt.
In terms of?
In terms of GDP size, our size of GDP. Now the challenge is, if our currency loses value by just 10%, we move to number 3. So we will move from number 1 to number 2 to number 3. Now, I'll tell you what bothers me the most about being number 3. Recently, we saw the 100 meters finals that Usain Bolt won. But let me ask you, who was 3rd in that race? No one actually remembers who comes 3rd. It was a man called Andre de Gressier from Canada.
He ended up 2nd in the, that was 400, is it 200?
Yeah, 200. But in reality, the world never remembers who comes 3rd. You probably will be lucky if they remember if you came 2nd. Everybody's interested in going to the man that comes 1st. The challenge is, if we do come 3rd, how many investors will remember us?
Are you factoring in all we say here about the informal sector? How, in spite of the fact that the formal sector dwindles here and there, many of maybe economists would have thought that we should have been far lower, but something, the huge capacity that the informal sector, which is not captured at the formal level, also brings to the table compared to what they have in SA.
Yes, and so here's what the IMF has done. They've said the formal sector plus the informal sector plus our new GDP that was rebased still puts us at number 2. Now, they've certainly also told us that we probably wouldn't even stay at number 2 for too long if our currency continues to decline. The Egyptian pound is fast accelerating, and it's about to bolt right behind us.
Why is the Egyptian pound accelerating?
Because investors have looked at the top 3 economies, South Africa, Nigeria, and Egypt, and they've taken a bet that based on the policies that are currently being implemented in Nigeria, South Africa and Egypt are safer bets for their money. So though South Africa is also witnessing a lot of economic hardship, they strongly feel that their capital markets are more liquid. They strongly feel that the leading party losing local government elections will spur the government to spend more, and based on that, the economy will produce more. So investors are more comfortable in putting their money in these 2 alternative economies at the moment. So here's what it means. We cannot allow the currency to keep losing its value. Now the CBN is working hard towards that, but the economy at the moment needs to produce even more, because the CBN is even running out of dollars.
What role can the local industries play, the SMEs and the informal sector?
Now, there's a lot of discussions on being able to provide the SMEs with more affordable loans, because a lot of these things wouldn't happen without investing in not just the SMEs, even the micro enterprises. So we have the small and medium enterprises, but before the small and medium ones, we have a lot and a huge number of micro enterprises, and we need to focus a lot on the micro enterprises.
We'll do that when we return in a moment. Join us again.